Greetings of this holy season. As we approach the shortest day of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere, both of our spiritual traditions draw us to a flash of sacred light, of illumination and inspiration to offset our winter fears. And this winter especially, we are challenged to seek out spiritual rituals that open us to greater soul growth and greater gratitude for the opportunity to care for one another as the Holy One cares for us. Many of us have used some of our considerable at-home time to do some deep cleaning. Personally, I've been trying to recycle as much as possible as I can from the file drawers in my home office. One of these folders overflowed with Hanukkah-related materials, close to 25 years of teaching and programming around the holiday. Happily, towards the top was an article from the late 90s written by my spiritual mentor, Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi. And that article included some observations that speak to this year's observance just as much, if not more, than they did to the long ago winter in which they were written. Let's talk about candles. First, how do we light Hanukkah candles? And second, how do we think about the blessings we make over candlelight? Who are we praising? What aspects of God are we blessing? Jews approach the Hanukkah festival mindful of a teaching that we have no permission to derive use from the holiday candles other than to look at them. We understand this as an opportunity for a nightly candle gazing meditation that opens us up to the constancy of the divine presence and invites us to broadcast to the world the miraculous news relived each year at this time. Historically, we recall the Maccabees' heroic determination to preserve and renew the Israelites' covenant with God in the face of the enforced idolatry of the Syrian Greeks. And as you may know, when the Maccabees restored the desecrated temple, the first observance was an 8-day festival meant to compensate for missing the previous fall's Sukkot. Hence, 8 nights of Hanukkah, of rededication to divine service embodied in the lighting of 8 candles. There is a famous argument between the ancient rabbinic schools of Rabbi Hillel and Rabbi Shammai concerning Hanukkah candle lighting. According to Hillel, and this has become the prevailing practice, one lights 1 candle the first night, 2 the second, and so forth. Because one lights, as the argument goes, one must always go higher in holiness, never lower. The followers of Shammai suggested we begin with 8 candles and each night light 1 less to metaphorically enact a temple offering of 70 bullocks during the Sukkot festival on behalf of the 70 nations of the world. 70 was the most expansive number of nations our biblical ancestors envisioned. And each day during that Sukkot observance, the number of bullocks offered decreased, hence the lighting of 1 candle less each night over the holiday. So that was the first question. How do we light the candles? In what order? Going up or going down? There was another argument between those 2 schools in connection with a candle lighting blessing. This one offered when we mark the movement from Sabbath time back into the work days of the week. In this case too, we follow Rabbi Hillel by blessing the creator of the various hues of fire, because as the Hillelites had it, light has many colors. The Shammaites maintained we should make the blessing the creator of the single light of fire, which can also make spiritual sense. So how do we resolve this seemingly minor ritual disagreement? By imagining, as our mystics do, that the opinion of the Hillelites reflects the reality of pre-Messianic time, when we see God's light in different hues, but that the opinion of the Shemaites will prevail once the Messiah has arrived to reveal the underlying unity. What do these two candle-lighting disputations teach us? Perhaps we might consider that meditating on an increasing number of lights blazing in their many colors could lead us to transcend the dichotomy of differing understandings, to guide us into a world where all the nations, all the cultures, all the religious traditions can affirm one to the other, your God and mine is the same true God. Your theology may describe the truth in blue or green or red, but it speaks of the same greater reality that transcends the monochrome. In honoring our diversity, we somehow enhance our unity, light by light. Reb Zalman suggested that we could consider lighting 2 electric Hanukkah menorahs in our windows, making the miraculous visible to passersby. One with only white lights, following Shammai, with a decreasing number of lights each night. The other with colored bulbs, increasing the number of lights each night, to unite us in our hopes of finding the unity manifested in the many. What an inspired way that would be to affirm the ecumenical values we embrace and share. Most years, Hanukkah overlaps part of Advent, sometimes even the Christmas holiday itself. Rather than signal some sort of jousting across our respective liturgical calendars, this happy coincidence brings us together to witness the return of light and hope and spiritual liberation out of the darkest time of the year. With our tradition's rituals, be they lights or Advent wreaths or fried foods or Christmas trees or prayers and songs, games and gifts, we remind each other that all our varied hues shine out of the prismatic divine presence, reaching out to us with love, reassurance, and the delight of the new and the renewed. As frustrating as it feels to observe and celebrate our sacred times by Zoom light, still we cannot help but sense the invisible and unbreakable links between us. The links to our histories, our aspirations, and our shared yearning for the wholeness and peace promised to us by our Creator. May every day of anticipation be rewarded with the fulfillment of this promise, that in God's light, we do truly see light. And in that light, we recognize one another in all our glorious diversity. Advent blessings, happy Hanukkah, and a blessed Christmas to come. Amen.